Hi everyone. On this video I am going to show you how to draw a Zentangle and then paint around it with acrylic paint. The materials we're going to need are mixed media papers, 3 Sharpie tips, 1 ultra fine, 1 fine, and 1 thick. Then we're going to need paint. Pick one color paint and get white. So here are 2 colors. I'm going to pick one of them, probably the pink one. And you're going to need white, because this is what we're going to blend the colors with. So let's begin. I'm going to draw a flower. So I'm only going to draw half the flower. So I'm going to start with drawing the disc, which is the center part of the flower, and only half of it. Once you have your half circle done, start drawing the petals. So I'm going to start here in the center, and then I'm going to keep adding petals. Try to keep them as close as possible as you can. Now that I have my main outline, I'm going to start drawing patterns. So the trick to Zentangle is drawing patterns. I'm going to add a semicircle on the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and create a pattern inside that semicircle. Now I'm going to create another pattern, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add another semicircle on top of that small circle I already made. I'm going to go ahead and add little circles inside that, try to keep the circles touching. Now what I'm doing doesn't mean you have to do it. You could create your own pattern. Now that I'm done adding those little circles, I'm going to go ahead and create another pattern on top of that semicircle. And again, I kind of make these things up as I go along, so it really is up to you to create these patterns and make them interesting. I made a bunch of patterns of triangles, and now I'm going to close it off with another semicircle. I want to kind of go back in there and add another pattern to those triangles to make them more interesting and fill them up. So I'm going to add little triangles inside the triangles. You'll notice as you go along and you're starting to create patterns, other patterns will come to you, including adding patterns inside patterns. So if you drew like a circle and you want to add a little circle inside that, or you draw a petal and you want to add petals inside that, you could go ahead and do that. So they start to, you start to create as you go along. Now I'm going to begin on my one of my main petals, and I'm going to create a pattern there. Now keep in mind that every petal you want to make different. So start with a pattern on one petal, and when you go to the next petal, create a totally different pattern. You'll notice as I'm creating patterns, I will switch from the thick Sharpie to the medium Sharpie to the very ultra thin Sharpie. That helps with the pattern designs. So go ahead and do that whenever you need it. So now that I finished the design of my Zentangle, I'm going to go ahead and paint it. I'm going to pick the paint color and I'm going to start with it exactly the way it is. And I'm going to outline all my petals on my Zentangle. So go in there and you want to make it thick enough that you notice the color as well. So go ahead and outline all your petals, give it a nice thickness to it, and do that everywhere. So now I finished putting on the first layer of my paint, and notice I'm trying to follow the shape of the petals. So that's why it, has that curvy, scallopy shape. So now I'm going to take my same paint and I'm going to add a little white to it. And I'm going to mix it up, and it's going to become a little bit lighter than the original color. Now that the paint is mixed, you're going to go ahead and take that paint and put it above the paint you already painted. And you're going to follow the same shape. So you're going to follow that scallop shape so that it copies or mimics the petals shape. So go ahead and put it there. If you'll notice that the paint is slightly lighter than the original color, and that's what you want. You don't want to go too light at the beginning, because little by little you have to start lightening it up. So go ahead and fill that up. And then when that is done, we'll do it once again. We'll lighten up that color. Okay, so now I'm going to take the last color I used and I'm going to add white to it. I'm going to lighten it up so it's going to be a shade lighter. And I'm going to go ahead and apply it all the way around again. Okay, so now I'm going to take the last color I used and add more white to it. And that way it'll become another shade lighter. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that all the way around. So you could start to now see the different shades as they appear on the paper as I start painting. So now we're almost to the top, and I'm going to go ahead and apply another layer of paint that is also lighter than the last shade I put on. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that, and there's barely going to be any paper left after this. And don't worry about going over the edge. That is fine. That's how it would be if you would take a picture of a person and you cut off their legs, for example, because you only want from the waist up. It's the same idea. I went ahead and lightened it a little bit more, and now I'm finishing off the edge of the paper. Once your paint dries, take your fat Sharpie and go ahead and outline your petals so that they stand out against the paint. I find that this last detail really makes it stand out. It really adds a lot to your painting. It makes it sharper. So I always recommend going ahead and outlining again with your thick Sharpie. And there you have a beautiful Zentangle acrylic painting. I hope you enjoy creating your own unique Zentangle. If you like this video, please give it a like down below and subscribe to see more video demonstrations by Art Connection.